Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's kickoff for the 2025 TCS New York City Marathon Training Panel Series. At tonight's event, you're going to learn from our panel of experts here to my left on how having a coach can make a difference in your training and performance. Before we get started, I'll share some logistical information. If you require an assistive listening device and you did not already request one, please see my colleagues over to my right and they will help you get set up with one. If you need to use the restroom this evening, we have an accessible and gender neutral group of restrooms right behind us around this corner to my right. This event is being live streamed on New York Roadrunners YouTube page with auto-generated closed captions, and it will also be published as a recording after this event. We will be taking questions from the audience, both in person and online. We'll have time for the audience questions later, so please hold on to them until the Q&A portion. My name is Christina Lopez, and I'm a marketing strategist here at New York Roadrunners. But tonight, I'm here to help ask the sometimes silly questions we may be too shy to ask ourselves when it comes to training for a marathon. For folks in the audience who may be blind or low vision, we will also be doing physical descriptions for myself and the panelists. I'm a fair-skinned Caribbean woman with black curly hair pulled back in a ponytail. I have on jeans, New Balance sneakers, and of course a TCS New York City Marathon t-shirt on. And for introductions, starting on my left, we have Coach Ben Delaney. Probably no introduction needed, but I'll go ahead and give you the written introduction. Head of Training Programs and Education, Coach Ben grew up playing team sports and came to running later in life. He was inspired by a friend and just jumped into the deep end of the running pool. He quickly saw the power of running with groups and how the combination of speed work, long runs, and easy runs creates an efficient running program and roadmap for success. He took that information and knowledge and started to work with other runners. He says the best word to describe the feeling of seeing runners achieving their success is magical. Coach Ben.
Thank you for being here. Short notice. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. I'm Ben. I am a white male. Some hair left on top, more hair on my face. That's more salty. I'm wearing a blue coach shirt like everybody else on the panel is. Navy blue or is it navy? Navy blue? Navy. Okay, it's blue. I got black shorts on, but thank you for being here. Hopefully, we'll share some information and have a couple of laughs along the way.
Thank you, Coach Ben. And to Coach Ben's left, we have Coach Gemma Ward, runner, training, and product lead. Shout out to you. Coach Gemma has a passion for running and loves coaching runners of all ages and experience levels. She is dedicated to helping athletes achieve their goals and thrives on sharing her enthusiasm for the sport. From short distances on the track to scenic trails and cross country events to lively road races, Gemma embraces every aspect of running. A Boston Marathon qualifier and experienced marathoner, she has completed races across the globe, using running as a way to explore the world. With each race, she continues to challenge herself and inspire others to do the same. Coach Gemma.
Hi everyone, super excited to be here. I'm a white woman. I have dirty blonde hair. I am wearing a navy shirt,
Thank you.
and they're supposed to be white shoes, but they are brown.
Thank you, Coach Gemma. And lastly, all the way to our left, we have Coach Steve Mura, runner training and education lead. Coach Steve is the lead for runner training and education at New York Roadrunners. He is RRCA and B.02 certified, coaching runners in person and virtually every year. In the 10 plus years since he started at NYRR, Coach Steve was a part of the group training launch, created weekly core strategy sessions, and coordinated the NYRR PACE team, which includes pacing for the TCS New York City Marathon. Steve found his love for running in cross country during his first year of high school. He picked up running again later in life and completed his first marathon at the 2010 New York City Marathon. Since then, his love for running has only grown to building community and helping others achieve their goals. You can find Coach Steve pacing many of the NYRR races. Coach Steve.
Thank you. It's hot in here, by the way. I'm starting to sweat up here. Steve, I'm wearing a navy blue coach shirt. I have a hat on that says coach. So if you don't know what I do for a living, it's coach. Green shorts and actually white New Balance shoes.
Thank you, Coach Steve. So many of you may have seen some of our expert panel of NYR coaches or pacing at our events, maybe at group training, or probably even on our social channels where they have a reputation for being extra silly, which I'm sure we'll see here this evening as well. I don't know about you all, but I'm excited to help kick off this session and learn what tips our coaches have for us today. Coaching comes in a variety of styles, and coaches have many different approaches and philosophies with what they do. I'd love for you to share a little bit more about your style and also what got you into coaching, starting with Coach Ben.
Thank you. Yeah, as I said in my bio, I think as anyone who becomes a coach, you kind of want to give back. That's kind of why you get started because someone gave information to you. And I'm sure people out here, you probably talk to your running friends. If you've run for a while, you may share your expertise or your experiences out there. And that's a lot of it comes down to is just as a coach, like as a runner, you begin to learn what works for you. And then you get curious about, oh, well, how does this actually work? How do these pieces of a puzzle fit together for the hopefully a success that you want to get? Um, so that's the style. And then from there, you kind of develop like your own voice. We talk about a lot of our new coaches is that's just you begin to develop who you are, how you deliver information, how you approach a workout, how you approach training plans. And then you get to know the people you work with and say, okay, where are you right now? And trying to find the best fit for their training on where they are today and know where they want to go and try to get them along that space. But I really enjoy coaching because we get to meet a lot of people out there and I think as we pace our events, you get to see their success. I think that's a pretty cool moment to have. We get to like live this every single day, and it's pretty cool.
You, Coach Gemma.
I get to follow that. Okay.
Go.
Same answer. No, just joking. I really love coaching. It's a really great opportunity to get out there in the community and get involved with all of our runners. I think that's something really unique about our job, which I really love. We have athletes of all abilities from all walks of life, and I think that getting to connect with them is really special, really nice. I love coaching, and I guess big things I've learned is not everyone wants to run a marathon, and that's okay. A lot of, this boom right now, everyone's super into it, but there's other distances. There's a mile, which is totally awesome. And just like meeting the athletes where they are at, I think that's super important for all of us as coaches.
Thank you. And Coach Steve.
I feel like a lot of it was taken. I think we have one of the best jobs in the world. It's one of the coolest things to coach athletes because you see a lot of people come into group training or any training program you're coaching, and a lot of them come in for new runners. They're people who just started running during that pandemic or afterwards, and they're like, "What do I do?" And as a coach, that's the best place to be because you're trying to feed this information to them. Who's running their first TCS New York City Marathon this year? First time, has never ran. So as a coach, people just walked in. I love it. So that to me is the best athlete because you're just a sponge looking for information and you're here or online watching and you're just looking for all these bits and pieces. And I think all three of us can relate to that moment when I was at my first marathon, 2010. I remember my coach telling me all this information and it helped me so long. So we're trying to fill that empty cup for you guys with this information. And so hopefully some of it sticks tonight. And if not, we'll have three more before the marathon.
Your coaching style. Started just under 16 weeks on your training schedule for the marathon. As we all know, the marathon the first Sunday of November. For many, that's known as the best day of the year here in the city. Um, so, as we start off this evening, I would love for the coaches to share more on what they think the most important thing a runner should be thinking about right now to prepare. Starting with Coach Gemma, the TCS New York City Marathon has one of the most challenging terrain changes of all the Abbott World Marathon majors. What should runners focus on to have a successful race day when training?
Ben's giggling here because I haven't actually ran Tokyo, so I can comment on the rest of them. Um, it is not flat. Okay, so if you've ran any of New York, you'll know that New York is definitely not flat. So we do not want your first hill to be on November 2nd this year. So try and incorporate that into your training, into your long runs, into your tempo runs, even into your speed work. The more hills you do during your training, that's really going to help you. Thinking about my training, all of my long runs, I try and incorporate a few hills. That doesn't mean running up and down Harlem Hill 1,000 times a week. That's not going to help, but including those hills into your training is going to be really beneficial. So finding routes, simulating the TCS New York City Marathon course is going to be really helpful. Those of us that live here in the city, you can basically run the entire course apart from the Verrazano Bridge. Do not attempt to run over that bridge, okay? But the rest of the course you can get on. So use this for your weekend long runs. Get out there on the course. If you do not live in New York City, try get out there on the hills. Where Steve lives in Jersey, he claims that the hills are bigger than the ones in the city.
I have proof on Strava that the elevation Brookside on Sunday come out is a huge hill.
But incorporate those hills. This is not flat. And so, yes, the West Side Highway is absolutely fantastic. You can get out there, use that for your training, but incorporating those hills, those bridges, you are going to thank me November 2nd. I guarantee it.
Wow.
Love that tip, especially as someone that lives uptown in Harlem. We have so many hills that after doing my weekly club runs, it just feels like I'm prepared for any race ever because of our local terrain. Coach Steve, talk to us about what makes a good training plan, how to pick one, and how you create training plans for your athletes.
Does everyone here, who does not have a training plan yet? Who's not having, that's okay if we do not have one. It's okay, so everyone has one now. Gemma's not, okay, so thank you very much. So we have one person. By now we should have a training plan. So after tonight, go get one. You want to look for a plan that is tailored to you. So we call it just static training plans online. That's used like a printed piece of paper. It's old school. It's going to tell you to run 10 miles this weekend and 15 miles next weekend. That's not tailored to you. That's written by someone who doesn't know you, doesn't know your background. You want something that is designed for you and starting you where you're at or where you were when you started training. It's going to build, some training plans build, every 3 weeks it'll go higher in mileage and then step down a week. Some plans will do high week, low week, high week, low week. But look for one that fits your lifestyle, fits your maybe past injuries that you've had before. You want less mileage because if I hit 40 miles, that's my breaking point. If you're a new runner, you want to take a little bit more time to get some base miles in there too. So find something that fits your lifestyle as well. So if you're a parent, if you're in school, if you work full time, if you don't have time on the weekends, find something that has a long run on a Friday or Monday. So once again, there's so many different plans out there and they're all constructed really, really well, but find ones that fit your lifestyle. Is anyone using the NYR by Runna program? Because that's what I'm using. You are? There's a few people. So if you haven't looked at it yet, it's a really cool, because it does adapt to your training. So it'll change the pace, change the mileage, and customize to your lifestyle. So I'm using a very low build because I have a very busy life right now with work, family, kids. So it's building me very slowly. If I was 20 years old and single, maybe it'll build a little faster because I have more time to run. So look for something that builds you up slowly. Again, NYRR by Runna is a great place to start, but there's tons of training programs out there for athletes.
Thank you. We have a very well-prepared crowd here, set with training plans.
It's good. I was worried about that everyone will raise their hand, and that's a bad sign. So I'm actually happy not many people raise their hands because we're 15 weeks out, training starting.
Yes. And Coach,
Yeah, so as you look for a training plan, everyone's going to get that. Think about how you fit it into your life. You all have decided to run a marathon. Congratulations. If you have friends, a spouse, you won't see them for the next 16 weeks because you're going to be running a lot. Get 26 miles, you have to get yourself ready. But finding the joy in what you have to do is so beneficial. We just started a lot of our training plans are in person here at Roadrunner with group training or with Team for Kids. And I tell runners, I want that same joy that you have here at week 16 in week 10, week 8, week 6, when you put in a lot of work. So finding the routine and finding the joy in doing this, because you all decided at some point that a marathon was a good idea. You want to stick with that. Again, everyone that raised their hand, this is your first time running the TCS New York City Marathon. Remember, no matter what that day holds, it's going to be your fastest. If it's your first marathon, it's going to be a guaranteed PR. All you got to do is get from Staten Island to Central Park, and we'll be waiting for you. But if you keep that in front of you, that's the reason you're there, and the joy, and it fits into your life. And I think Steve talked about like the plan, like where you are today may be different than where you're going to be in 2 weeks. If you have vacations planned, if work picks up, you want to make sure you have flexibility. Give yourself grace to know that you can miss a workout here and there. It's okay. 1 mile, 10 miles missed will not change your race day. Just be consistent with what you do and get yourself out there. It's hot as heck outside here in New York City. We've all been outside. I ran last night, this morning. I think Steve ran this morning in New Jersey. It was 58 degrees in New Jersey, right? No, it wasn't 58 in New Jersey. It was hot as Haiti out there. It's hot. So really listen to yourself and remember you want to do this and keep that in front of you, and it'll make the process between now and the first Sunday of November hopefully as enjoyable as it can be for you.
Thank you. So now we have a context of where we are in this moment in time in our training programs. Coach Steve, could you share a little bit about what it'll feel like running a first marathon in November? We have many athletes who will be running their first marathon. And what are some good coaching tips for beginners and first timers that you have?
I think it's remembering Ben said why we're doing this. And that why can change. It can be multiple reasons. I have probably 10 reasons why I'm running the marathon this year or last year. And it's going to change throughout your running career, your era of running, whatever it is. And that's okay. But know why you signed up in February for the TCS New York City Marathon, because we know how hard it was to get into this race. Be passionate about that. And I think just take your training day by day. I think when we new runners, we look at, should I pay attention to my shoes, my gait, my breathing, my height of running, all this kind of stuff. Just start with today. Start with today. When we read books, we don't ask what happens at the end. We start at chapter 1 and then we go to chapter 2. Just like that with running, we start at day 1. We do the 3-mile run. Tomorrow we do a 4-mile. Then we do 2-mile. Make sure your run is also like a mixtape, I call it. So I made a mixtape today at the office. So it's not the same band over and over and over with the same singer. One song is fast, one song slow. Some songs have 2 singers. Some songs go different genre. Your running is the same as that. Some runs are by yourself. Some runs are fast. Some runs are slow. Some runs you're in Central Park. Some you may come to Jersey because you're going to a different genre. Every run is different. Otherwise, by the time you get to November, it's going to be very still. And as Ben said, you got to remember that throughout the 16 weeks why we're doing that. So switch up your runs, because most people will say, running is boring. Well, why is it boring? Well, I run Central Parks at 6 a.m., 6 miles every day. That sounds boring to me. But if you change it up every week, that's going to keep that excitement alive. And again, finding that community, whether it's group training, Ben mentioned, Unlock program, or just your running crew, that's going to help you stay motivated throughout the weeks.
Thanks. Yeah, what always surprises me as a newish runner is how one day a run can feel easy, and the next day that same distance, same time, it can feel amazingly difficult.
The worst is when the harder day is a shorter run. You're like, yesterday was 5 miles easy. Well, today's 3 miles are really hard. It happens. Every day is different. Every mile is different,
Yeah.
But it's very true.
Yeah, definitely unpredictable. And on that note, Coach Ben, could you share a little bit about running plans? No running plan is set in stone. We all know that life happens. What can we do when we miss a workout or have that feeling that we're not keeping up with our training program?
Just cry. Just sit. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, Steve, you mentioned he has his 15-mile run tomorrow. If it works out, great, he's going to get there and do it. Or maybe he may wake up tomorrow morning and not feel good. Or if you have a family, that takes precedence. It's okay. You can shift things around. So it's understanding that be flexible. Be flexible with yourself. Give yourself grace. Missing a run is okay, or changing a harder workout just to a regular run. Christina talked about some days, and Steve mentioned it, that some days it's going to feel good, some days it's not going to feel so good, and that can be for a multitude of reasons. Work is getting in the way. Life is in the way. I didn't sleep very well. I went too hard last night in Jersey with that new genre. So all the things that you have to think about. But really, when you look at a training plan, it should be flexible. And NYRR by Runner, for those who are using it, that's a great thing because you can literally drag and drop workouts into different places. The one thing as a coach that we would tell people is to make sure you're not doing back-to-back hard days. You want to give yourself days off or easier days in between your harder days, because when you understand the work that your body's having to do, especially if you live here in the Northeast or anyone online who's in the South that's laughing at us saying, you think it's hot up there, come down to Miami. You need to understand that you're working hard when you're out there. So making sure you take care of yourself, give yourself days off. It's okay to take an extra day off. Like I said before, a couple of miles, upwards of 10, 15, 20, 30 miles, ultimately will not impact your race day as long as you're consistent with where you have to be on the days when you're out there working well. So just give yourself space to be flexible, move things around, but ultimately, you know that the first Sunday of November, you've got 26.2 miles to run. So you still have to put in the work to get there. But along the way, it's okay to change things up and give yourself that space, because ultimately it'll be more enjoyable and won't feel like a job or I have to do this versus I get to do this. And if you can keep that right there, it's a much more enjoyable experience.
Thank you, Coach Ben. And I have a bit of a specific question next for Coach Gemma. You're our only woman coach on the panel here tonight. I'm curious if you've seen anything come up in terms of gender-specific things in training as you've worked with women athletes.
How much time have we got? You guys good on time? All right. No, this is a really loaded and important question. Firstly, shout out to all of our women athletes in the room. Firstly, you're out there crushing it. This is amazing. You know, if we look back in race photos from however many years ago, you look at the field and it was deep of men, and now it's, you know, 50-50. Some races we have more female athletes, and I think that that is just absolutely incredible. So welcome being out there and crushing it. With that being said, there's a lot that we can talk about here. Runner safety. I think that is really important. It's something that comes to mind. You know, we all read these stories on the news. But, you know, keeping ourselves safe out there on the streets is really important. If you're running early in the morning, late in the evening, have a buddy system. Run with a friend, find a group, check in with someone if you're going out there early in the morning. I think that's really important. A few summers ago, I was going out 4:30 in the morning. Not in Jersey, but in Queens.
The Jersey all night. Like,
Bring it, let's go.
He's been giving it to us all day, so this is going. But yeah, making sure that you're checking in. I know that, you know, 4:30 in the morning in Queens was quiet, so try to stay to well the paths and just making sure you're keeping, you know, safe out there, wearing visible clothing, like with lights flashing, but checking in on your friends that you know are out there marathon training is super important. We have a lot of new moms out there that are running. I see you crushing those miles in the park with your running shoulders. That's awesome. But pregnancy, postpartum, we have a lot of, you know, great resources online that we can use. And I guess for us training for the marathon, you know, knowing that you can adapt your training for your cycle, I think that's really important. Just because you have a longer on the weekend, you can shift it. That's totally okay. As Coach Ben said, you can move things around. I've got so many notes here for this. I'm just going to keep on going, but most importantly, really listen to your body. Also, my other favorite tip, this is from my youngest self. I used to look at what was really cute in the stores and think, this is going to look awesome. Really find clothing that works with you. I think that's going to be really important. Just because it's super cute, bright pink, whatever's your favorite color, it doesn't mean it's going to work. So really test that out on the run.
That brings to mind, I was just joking with someone today about what to wear for the marathon, and they're like, which sports bra do you use? And I was like, well, actually, the one I use is like this old sports bra that I use for every big important race day, nothing special. So yeah, thank you. We're going to ease into some final questions. So would love some final pieces of advice for running this year's TCS New York City Marathon, starting with Coach Ben.
I'm going first. Okay. I was like, wow, I thought I was later in this one, but here we go. The one thing I tell runners, whether you're new, coming back, been doing this, treat or approach your rest days with the same level of intensity or excitement that you do a workout. Sit down, get back on the couch. It's okay. Because people think if I stop running, I'm going to lose this or lose that or lose fitness. It's not how our bodies work. You've got to give yourself a day off. Every Monday, I don't do a damn thing. I sit down, I take it easy, and it's intentional. I take those times off. I take care of myself. It's important. So I tell people, just approach your rest day with the same intensity or excitement that you would that hill workout or that long run. That today I don't have to do anything. I get just to be alive and just enjoy the moment. So, because then you realize how important those days off are. And then when you're recovering, because you actually will make physical gains in your endurance and in your strength when you are not running, that when you do go to do your next workout, you will actually be better suited and ready to do it because you've given yourself time to recover and repair the muscles, because you will be asking a lot of your body over the next 15 and a half weeks.
Coach Gemma, final piece of advice.
I think my biggest piece of advice for everyone, it doesn't matter if you've ran this one time or 100 times, just enjoy it. Enjoy every moment of it. The training and November 2nd, which is the big race day. All of this is your journey. So just have fun, enjoy every long run. You may not enjoy it during the long run, but you are going to enjoy it after. Just reflect on that. Have fun, and remember, you chose to do this. So celebrate you, and after the race, don't forget to celebrate your whole journey.
Coach Steve.
I had a cross country coach when I first started running way back in a year that I'm not going to mention right now. Tell me always before a race, he would, and these are cross country, 3Ks, 5Ks, he would say, be present. And I was like, what do you mean be present? He's like, be present in the mile you're in. So, and I always take it to coaching and running myself is tomorrow morning's run, whenever you're going out there, be present in that run. Don't think about November 2nd. Don't think about October 15th when you last long run. Say, how am I going to get to that 20 miler, but I've only ran 5? Be present in that 5-mile run or that 10-mile run, because if we think too far ahead, that's going to scare us. I mentioned it before. When we read a story, we don't think about how's the book going to end. We know we're going to get to the end of the story. You know you're going to get to that finish line on November 2nd. But everyone's first goal in this room and is online, get into the start line healthy. And to do that, we got to focus on the run we're in and being present in that mile, in that step, and on that day. If we get too far ahead of ourselves, we're going to miss the rest. We're going to miss the excitement of it. We're going to miss all that other stuff that comes with it. So just remember what we're doing and why you're doing it.
Love it. Before we get into audience questions, we have a quick round of hot takes. So this is a speed round for each coach, 1 answer each, 5 seconds max. Let's go. Hot takes. Runners, quote unquote, easy pace is probably too fast.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
It depends on the athlete, but it is 60% yes.
5 seconds.
I could go on about that one.
5 seconds. You don't need a carbon-plated super shoe to PR.
100%. I do not have carbon shoes at all.
I agree with Steve.
Yeah, I think my PR was like in just regular trainers
Barefoot, right?
every day.
No gel flavor is actually delicious.
I had a really, sorry, this has been longer than 5 seconds. I had a really good one. It tasted like brownie batter. When you licked it, like the brownie batter after you make brownie, it tastes like that. It was really good. When I was working at a running store, not running the marathon, but like in the moment, I'm like, oh, I'm hungry for something. That tasted really good. Besides that, they're all gross.
Disagree.
I think the first one tastes good. The fourth one in the same day, that time you're like, no.
Mile 20, they taste bad.
Everything is bad at that point. I don't care what it is.
Taper week is just carb loading while crying.
Yes.
Every week for I like taper week. You get to sit down and relax and know that I'm going to be done with this finally in a few days.
Alfredo in tears.
I'm not a big fan of taper. I don't like it. I'd rather be running more. Yeah, I don't cry, but
I could tell the emotion. I could see the emotions.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like taper. Taper is the hardest part of training for me.
Alfredo in tears sounds like a podcast.
I'm getting it on a shirt.
There's no need to follow a specific training plan to be able to run a marathon.
I've known people that have gotten out there. I mean, we can use improper terms, F around and find out. I don't want to do that personally, but people have done it. I wouldn't recommend it.
That's just tears. I disagree.
There's a way to complete a marathon or compete in a marathon. Competing means with yourself, or completing means you're just going to have the worst day ever, which we had last year. But you can complete a marathon. I think a lot of people can complete a marathon. Just go out and run it.
It was worse, and then it was the best.
Exactly.
So.
Final round. Running in the winter is better than running in the summer heat.
Oh, hell yeah.
Summer all day.
No.
Winter. Winter, raise your hand. Winter running? We got a majority, by the way. Yeah, that's I
Summer
counted.
running?
Summer running?
Wrong.
I love a good hot summer run.
Today.
All right, so now we'll move into audience questions, the moment we've all been waiting for. Coach Jen will come around with the microphone. If you have a question here in the audience, please raise your hand. Let us know your name. Let us know which number marathon this will be for you, and please keep your questions brief. Thank you.
The first question's always the hardest.
Who's going to break the ice? There we go.
Hi, I'm Peter. This is my first marathon, but I've done a number of ultra marathons.
Never heard a question set off that way.
How does that work? How did you decide to go back?
You can skip. Yeah,
Never
you
done a
can skip.
5K, but I've done a 10Ks. Y'all get ready.
So I have a question on race fueling. Like with ultras, obviously it's slower. You're fueling a lot more.
And you eat pizza at mile 30.
If
I
you
know.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's why it's
Pizza.
that's why it's more fun. What recommendations do you have for race day fueling during the marathon?
I would say it's going to be very different to your ultra running. Yes, you can get pizza out on the marathon course. Probably there's donuts, there's everything you can imagine, but
Queens brings it all.
Queens has every food variety. But try just like the classics like Gels, Chews, Gatorade. What we have on the course is going to really help you. But practice this in your training. It's going to be slightly different to that ultra marathon mentality.
And I think it's gonna be a little different because I'm assuming you're gonna be running a little faster for the marathon than ultra. A lot of depending on where your ultras have been, sometimes they'll run walks or slower runs. Marathon, I'm just assumption here you're gonna be running a little faster than those. So running and eating or sipping a goo is hard for people to do. So I would practice that a lot. Whatever you're gonna take, practice running during your run with it instead of walking, which most people do in ultras.
It's also going to be a lot shorter than what you've currently ran.
Hopefully.
I'm about 26.
Hopefully.
We're done.
Don't be jinxing it, Gemma. Like, you never know. Hopefully, have a good day.
26 miles versus 50, 100? I don't know.
You never know. This is New York.
Hi, I'm Sarah. This is going to be my second marathon. I did Philly last year, and I think I'm most nervous about the hills. What's your advice there?
Practice running on hills. I would say get out there, put them in your long runs, your tempo runs. If you live close to Central Park, that is just a classic place to run in the city. You can't avoid hills whichever direction you go.
Yeah, I think New York, it is hilly. It's one of the most hilliest marathon majors, around 800 feet of elevation, something like that. But I was thinking of it, there's three major hills in New York City. The first one, Verrazano Bridge, you're not going to notice it. That's the highest climb, but you're not even going to notice it because excitement, the crowds, you're tapered, yada, yada. You have the mile 16, the Queensboro Bridge. That's a very hard hill. It's probably one of the bigger ones compared to Verrazano. And then mile 22, 23, which if you ran it right now, you wouldn't notice it. Easy one to practice is just where it is at mile 23 of a marathon. You're going to notice it. So you're really thinking about almost two hills because, again, the first one we don't notice. There are some rollers in there, but those are the three biggest hills on the course that I think in your long runs you can practice those, especially the last two you can practice those, which will help on race day.
There's a lot of really good signs about the hills on the course, so embrace those on race day as well.
Hi, I'm Megan. It'll be my first marathon, so I'm very excited. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about incorporating strength training into your training plan, or if you recommend that. I like to strength train, but I don't want to overdo it, and I do want to really give my rest days their time. So if you have any tips, that would be great.
Yeah, I've actually incorporated more strength training recently in my own routine. And so I make those hard days a little bit harder. But also knowing that if I do that, the next day I'm really going to feel that more. But definitely give yourself those breaks in between. And also, you're obviously your legs are going to be doing a lot of work, but don't be afraid to do leg work. Obviously, squats, lunges, you still have to do that because that's ultimately what's going to carry you. But doing the upper body work and your core work, especially your back, it's amazing how much your back will play into keeping you upright when you begin to fatigue. So if you're doing strength work, if you're working with a trainer, try to get into that kind of mode. But yeah, I would just watch your load when you're doing the strength training. Make sure you're not you don't have to lift heavy. maybe some days you will, but obviously keep your easies. And like, I know like, we haven't really talked about like if your training cycle, if it's like if you're doing 2 up or 1 down or 3 weeks up and 1 down, your strength training should mirror that as well. So on your deload weeks, you're not still lifting heavy or lifting more than you need because then you're not getting the recovery that you need. So just be as mindful of that. And if you're working with somebody, if that trainer is a runner also, it could help because they could obviously kind of guide you a little bit more. But that's just,
I agree with that. Keep your hard days hard, your easy days easy, but that's going to help with injury prevention as well. So definitely incorporate that strength training. That's going to be very beneficial. I've ran quite a few marathons and I definitely noticed the ones that I've strength trained versus the ones I haven't strength trained. And so keep up your strength training. It's homework.
all my marathons are hard. Doesn't matter which way. It hasn't helped.
Hi everyone, my name is Julio. This will be my fourth marathon. I have a question regarding preparing on race day in the morning where you have to wait hours before your start time.
It's a long wait, my
Yeah,
friend.
I know. I've been there, done that, and I wanted to know what type of stretching or warm-up exercises you could do specifically before the actual race time
Yeah.
starts for you that will be useful for your performance.
So it's an interesting question. When you've done other marathons, this is your fourth one, you said? This will be
Yes.
your fourth one. So your other 3 marathons, were they in New York City? Cool. So what did you do then? Yep. Perfect. Yeah, you want to loosen the body up, get the blood flowing. We're not going to do a mile warm up. We're really not going to do strides. We're also those are great workouts to get the blood flowing, but we're also going to use mile 1, mile 2, mile 3 to warm up the body. The first mile, as I said, it's up Arizona Bridge, as you know. That should not be a fast mile, so use that mile as a warm up. I paced the race the last 2 years, so we're in a little tent. I don't do any running from that tent to the start line. And I just walk over there with a big, gigantic sign. And my first run that morning is when that cannon goes off. There's no room to do any strides. I guess in the far corners there might be, but there's not really proper room to do strides. There's not a place to do a mile warm up. You don't need that in a marathon because you can use a mile 1, mile 2 to kind of warm that body up. But loosening up, even the crowds, you want to do some leg swings, assuming you're not going to kick anyone, some squats, some arm swings. That's totally fine. Just don't overdo it because you have 26 miles ahead of you.
What will be the time period that you think that a warm up should be sufficient enough to
What's it? I would
like
say
20 minutes to 15 minutes?
focus on your long run. So if your long runs, what are you doing to prep for those? Are you in your house doing those leg swings 20 minutes before you start your long run? If yes, that's the time. If you're doing 2 minutes before your long run starts, do it when the cannon goes off before you make your way to the start line. Mirror your long run to match your marathon. The long run, we're not just practicing our distance. We're practicing our fueling. We're practicing what we're wearing. We're practicing how we're starting. We're practicing how we're ending the race. All of that is practice. We're practicing running for race day. So everything you're doing long runs, and now it's time to practice that. So once again, if your warm ups and your food is timed, same exact thing, raise race day.
Thank you.
Got it? Cool. Yeah.
We have a question up front.
Hi, my name is Monica. This is my first full marathon. I usually just marathons. Thank you. um, you said previously to practice on hills. Let's say the weather isn't favorable outside. So how would you mirror that in a gym? And I guess this is like a two-part question. How would you mirror that in a gym? What would be the speed and incline to mirror those hills outside in the park? And how do you incorporate that into strength training?
Yes, we can all have a little stab at this one, but I would say definitely running on an incline. Speed's going to be different for everyone. So the pace that you're running your training run is going to be very different to what Steve, what Ben, what myself is running at. So I think pace is going to be on you depending on what you're running at. Also, if it's an interval workout, if it's a tempo workout, or if it's an easier kind of long pace run. But running on a treadmill at an incline, that's going to really be helpful for those hill repeats. I've definitely replicated that for winter training when it's been like ice cold outside and I'm not going to go outside because it's winter training. But running on the incline, but you can also move your plan around. So if Saturday's looking more favorable than Sunday, you can, switch that plan around.
I would ask why you're going inside. I would rather you be outside than in a gym. Now, if it's unsafe, yeah, we're going to mirror the course as much as possible. Or in hill repeats, just put it up for 3 minutes and then flat for the recover.
To get sick, maybe
What?
like sick,
Oh, I don't
like
want you to get
pneumonia
sick
or
either.
something.
Yeah.
And also, what exactly? Because I know you said speed would vary. What incline would mirror a hill around like a guesstimate?
I don't use treadmills. I know you could. You guys know the treadmill settings for what the marathon is. I don't use treadmills. I know those websites you can say, what is the elevation of the Verrazano Bridge to match the treadmill? I don't know the number. I don't use treadmills, but you can look that up. And a mile 1, it's going to be starting on the hill, and then you just go flat for a few miles till you get to the long run of mile 13, and then we're going to match the Pulaski Bridge. We're going to go up to 5 on the elevation. I don't use treadmills, but look at the elevation of the course and mirror that as much as possible. That's what I'd say.
Some treadmills will have a function that you can click like the course, so NYC, and it replicates that. But it depends
Those are
on
the fancy ones now.
Peloton's got that one.
they don't have them in Jersey.
Anyone else here from New Jersey? Online, back me up. New Jersey is the best place to live. Online, friends, let's go.
And I will say, it doesn't have to be the biggest incline. The inclines on this course are not like steep, but they can be long. Like if you run across the Queensboro Bridge before,
No, I think the one with the most hills I've done with the half marathon is Staten Island.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, you're good.
That's really hilly.
yeah, you're good.
Usually I do like 15% incline on a treadmill.
Yeah, that's a little excessive. But
You're good. You're
whatever.
good.
If-
You're
if-
good.
If that's what you love, hey, I'm here to support you in that case.
Not Kilimanjaro, it's New York
Yeah.
City. Yeah.
I mean, I heard if you train hard, marathon will feel easier. So that's kind of
Well,
my train of thought.
Yeah, I mean, hard is I think as Pete
Hard-
talked earlier, I mean, hard is kind of one where we're like, you shouldn't be overtraining. You shouldn't be like, again, if we were coaching somebody, I was doing a hill workout on Cat Hill in the park last night, and it was hot. And I told my runners, you should stop this workout when you have at least one extra rep in you. If you do the workout till you're totally cooked and your hands are on your knees and you're done, your recovery time has now been extended. So now you have to recover longer before your next run or next workout. Where if you had stopped, you're already beginning the recovery process. So hard is one thing, but be smart. You shouldn't be so hard that you're just like, it feels good, don't get me wrong, but you have to think about your whole cycle, the whole arc of your training, and how many miles you're going to do over that time, and trying to keep yourself healthy. Because if you're not healthy or you're too tired, it doesn't matter how many miles you run. All you're doing is burning yourself out.
And I think another thing on that is training off effort versus training off pace. That's going to really help you. Like if you're fearful because it is 90 degrees outside right now, our groups are going out there. That marathon effort, let's say it's 4 hours on race day. Today we're going to be dialing it back a lot more than that. So running off that effort. So out of a scale, 1 being easy, 10 being really challenging, keep it at a 7, keep it at an 8, but don't increase it more than that for those hills that you are running. And then your recovery is going to be a 3 or 4, but running off effort versus off a pace, that's going to help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Paige. This will be my first marathon. My question is also about nutrition, but more so about fueling through the whole training program. How do we know that we're eating enough? What should we be thinking about, particularly if there's anything specific for women? How should we be approaching this?
You will definitely know if you're not eating enough, because you're going to be feeling extra tired. Your runs are going to be a lot more challenging. But yeah, really focusing on carbohydrates and focusing on protein, that's going to be really helpful. For female athletes, having a little bit of extra sodium around the cycle, that's going to be really beneficial for your long runs, for any of your training runs around that. But incorporating a little bit more carbohydrate, that doesn't mean eating a whole plate of Alfredo like they do in the office, but incorporating a little bit extra, that's going to be really helpful. And lean protein is going to be super helpful as well. But focusing on the day before your long run, extra carbohydrates, whole grains, and then post run you'll want to increase that protein. That's going to be really beneficial for your muscle recovery. But speak to a dietitian, a nutritionist. They can help you create a plan for that. And then race day, everyone is going to be so different with what they need to take on the course. From even the 3 of us, what we do is completely different, and it's right because it's right for all of us. So just because what Steve does doesn't mean it's going to work for me. Like, I think Coach Ben has sushi the night before. doesn't work for me. I need to have Alfredo. So really find what works for you. And if it's working and you don't notice it's affecting you, that means it's good. If you're running and you're thinking this is not sitting in my stomach, that means that you need to try something else.
Why do I have sushi? I like all the elements that's in it. I like the lean protein in the fish. I love the rice for the carbohydrate. I love the sodium for both the fish and the soy. I sweat a lot when I run, and so for me, that's part of that the whole process of doing that. But also, I look at the days even before that. So even though I know what the night before is, but I'm looking at my lunch, my breakfast for the next 2 or 3 days before that, because it all plays into trying to get my body hopefully prepared for what I'm asking to do, whether it be a long run or a marathon, whatever the case may be, because you're asking a lot. You have to have all the things. We can only store so much carbs in our body. So you have to understand, like, you can't just power down the plate of Alfredo and think, I'm good to go. That's not how our bodies work. And it's just going to sit in your stomach like a rock. So again, it's all about practice. I mean, unfortunately, there is no one size fits all. I wish there was a way, hey, just do this and congratulations, you're running 2:03 in the marathon and you're getting, first place. If that was the case, we'd all be out there having a great time. So just it's trial and error, especially for the first timers, but you'll always take something away from one of your runs, whether good, bad, or indifferent, and it's okay. Process it, look at what was good, what can be worked on, and move on to the next workout from there.
And you've got 15 weeks as well. You've got a long time to figure out what is working for you.
All right. Hi, I'm Maria, and this will be my 5th New York City Marathon. So since I have done the course many times and I live in Queens, Queensboro Bridge on my virtual marathon, crossed it twice. I love sharing that information with everyone. This might be a little bit of a naughty question. So not that, Ben, not that way.
Don't respond to that. It's
So
sit by him every day.
So here's the situation. When we get closer to marathon day, that's also where my lifestyle, I'm a single parent, it gets really, really hard to get those long runs in. Like so hard that, I did finish 5, but I have never gotten to the full amount of miles that I really should be. So how bad is it? Like someone told me that it is okay. I have a Peloton bike at home that I love it. I love it. How bad is it to replace some of those miles that I know I will not be able to get with riding my Peloton?
Do it.
Thank you.
Usually for most people, I'd say, the best case scenario for every single runner is to do every single run properly and to get all the 20 miles in, the 22 miles, whatever your long run is. That's not normal. We all have different lifestyles. We've kind of talked about that before. Some people are single parents, some are students, they got exams, in that time of year. You do what fits your lifestyle and what you can do. Now, no one in this room is going to do the training plan exactly as it's written. It's a guide. It was written in pencil for us. It's not set stone, whatever you want to say. If for your lifestyle, and if that's what you have to do, you got to do 5 miles outside and then head to the bike for the last 15. I'm making it up, whatever it is. That's what you got to do to be a single parent. It's not easy. And so you need to fit your lifestyle. So if that's what's going to get you to cross line, we want you to also. This should be a joyful experience, not stressful. It's stressful in its own way, but not because you're missing time with your kids and with your family. So we always we paid to do this. We're not being paid to do this. So make it as easy for you as you can with the difficulty challenge we're facing.
I think what it is I feel bad at times to share that I do that and I have to do it because I'm already back of the pack runner, and I'm still working against that stigma with bodies and what looks like what is a runner and whatnot. So I haven't been. I don't really want to share that I use the Peloton quite a bit towards the end of my training. So I guess that's why I wanted to.
Do you know Meb Keflezighi? You know who that is, right? Meb Keflezighi. He won the marathon many times Olympics. He's a huge athlete. He runs team for kids. After he retired as an elite athlete, this is more age, but same kind of idea. He no longer did his easy runs running. He did his hard runs out there on the track, tempo runs, and then he took all of his easy runs and did the elliptico. The elliptic machine, but in the park. So he did that. So he only ran 3 days a week. and the other 3-4 days were on a machine, and he went on to still run 2 hours and 15, 20 minutes, something like that, as a retired athlete. So a lot of professional athletes will supplement those runs. You're supplementing your run for a different reason, which is also amazing. You're also protecting your body from the pounding out there for 3, 4, 5 hours. You're protecting your body by getting on the Peloton, which is also awesome. Jen, do we have any big questions online that the world is asking? We're obviously here in person, but
Yes, we do. I'm going to let you ask a question, and I'm going to unlock the
Ice baths are debated. I personally like them. If you guys have any other tricks for after long runs or to get our body back.
closing the door so my kids don't jump on me. Sorry.
Love Island, maybe on repeat.
I was gonna say Netflix, Love Island,
exactly.
ice cream,
Couch.
huge fat couch is great. I actually do like to go for a walk. Like I like taking my dog out. We'll go out and just do a little bit of an easy walk. That's really nice. If you happen to get ice cream on the way back, that is also an added bonus. Calcium, it's great recovery. But yeah, really take it nice and easy. And whatever that feels like for you, Love Island, whatever you want to watch.
I know some people swim. I don't swim, but anything like low impact, again, going back to the elliptigo, anything like low impact, or just sitting on the couch. I mean, we joke about it, but it's true. And you'll feel it come August, September. Like I said early on, I want you to feel the same way later in your training than you're feeling right now. Yeah, there's a lot of new things. You don't know what's coming down the way, but you know how you feel inside and you know why you're doing this and still feel that way. And it's okay to take an extra day on the couch. Yeah, I miss my couch day marathon training. I like to get back on my couch. I miss my wife. I miss my son. But I know I have to do the work. But when it's over, I take care of myself. And we always say treat yourself, but do that. Treat yourself, whether it's ice cream, whether it's a glass of wine, your favorite meal, watch TV, take a nap, whatever it is. But really look at your whole training as a whole process. Don't like it's so focused on if I don't do this, I'm not going to get whatever my heart desires or my time is. It's not how it works. Just really give that space, and you'll find it's so much easier when you do have to push and go that you have the mental and the physical and emotional to a certain extent also to get it done. Harper?
It's my turn.
Uh-oh.
All right. So we have a few questions in the chat. I'm going to start with the obvious one, given the temperature outside. Any advice for training or acclimating to the heat, particularly on easy days when you want your heart rate low?
Yeah, run off effort. I think that's really important. Stick to running in the cool parts of the day. So earlier in the morning, later in the evening, technically, but going outside right now, that's not really going to be any help. It's still really humid.
It's 90 outside right now.
And 90 outside at 7 p.m.
So run at 2 a.m. only. Just 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. is the best time to run in New York right now.
Really dial that effort back. Run off effort versus worrying about hitting any splits right now. I think that's really important. It roughly takes around 2 weeks to acclimate to the temperature. I never fully feel acclimated in a New York summer, but I do like getting out there. But hydrating, keeping on top of those electrolytes and water is going to be really important. Monitoring your urine, no, that's not a topic that everyone wants to talk about, but it is really important. Making sure that it's like lemonade. That's going to be really important. Staying nice and hydrated.
Just don't drink it. But put it in perspective, my easy runs are normally 8:45 per mile. That's like my average easy run. This morning, it was 12 minutes per mile because it was hot this morning. So once again, you can never really go those too slows on those easy runs. Even on the speed workouts, my speed workouts now, sometimes when it's really hot, it's 7:30s instead of 6. Like whatever it is, it's all relative to whatever it is. So it's slower than what it should be, but come cooler weather, less humidity, you're going to see those times go a lot faster.
All right. So next question. When should I start tapering and how many miles are suggested to maintain, but also save up energy 1 to 3 weeks before?
Yeah, we're talking about the taper already. We're 16 weeks out. Someone's excited.
Someone is excited.
Someone's like, they want this over with. Usually your taper, traditionally, it's for first-time marathons, about 3 weeks. So your last long run is 3 weeks out for marathon day. Then the 3 weeks after that, you're just kind of reducing. A general rule of thumb is like if you look at your training load, the volume, if you're taking 70% and then 40% as you make your way down, you're reducing how many miles you're running. The long runs will decrease. Everything will decrease. You may still have a speed workout or two during taper to kind of keep that pep. Also kind of keeps the edge off because taper tantrums are a thing. I mean, we talk about crying and taper and feeling all the emotions out there. So, and then again, if you've more experienced marathoners, may do a 2 week taper, depending on what you are. But anybody who's a first time marathoner, say give yourself 3 weeks. You will thank yourself for it. And yes, that week before the marathon is all the feels is pretty, standard for all of us out there because we just want to get out there and run it and get it done.
I eat cake when I taper, just so everyone knows.
Oh, there we
A lot
go.
of cake.
Classic.
There
And
we
I
go.
cry. Okay, so the next question. For a first-time marathoner, what is typically the longest long run before race day?
I'll take a first stab. There is no typical run for first timers or 20 timers. It's all gonna be different of where you started from. First timers sometimes will start at 5 miles a week, like their longest run ever than 5 miles. Their long run might get you to, I don't know, 17, 18, but some first timers have maybe done some half marathons in here. And this is the first marathon, so their long run might be 20, 21 miles. It's going to depend on what your mileage coming into it. And then anything that happened in your training that has delayed your long run. So if you miss a long run because something happens, you're not going to continue on your plane. You're going to adjust. So take that all into consideration with that long run. There is no typical distance. It's usually, I would say, I don't know, 17 at the low end and the high end, maybe 22, depending on the person and the experience. We tried as a coaches usually have that long run convert into time. So think of it, your long run is usually about 3 hours, depending on, everyone's running 3 hours for the last long run, no more, no less. That's where you're stopping for your last long run. But it's going to vary different between training plans and philosophies and stuff.
Okay, I think we have time for maybe one or two more questions. What are the best cross-training workouts to help work towards New York?
Sitting on the couch ranks up there pretty high for me. Exactly. Cross training. Yeah, we talked about strength training. If you really incorporate, if you are doing strength training out there for cross training, it's going to be good to build up your quads because you're going to need it. This is what happens in New York that people aren't prepared for is the physical hardness of the ground you're running on. It's concrete. It's the schist or the actual physical earth beneath that. You've got the metal on the bridges that you're running on. So it's just a physically hard area you're running on the entire time. So really doing cross training is going to help build up that muscle in the leg and also think about the lower leg as well because running is a one-legged sport. So think about, alternate side things with the feet, keeping yourself as healthy as you can because it'll beat you up when you're out there. Incorporate those things. Again, anything that's low impact as well, from cycling to swimming. If you can do easy runs on a treadmill or an elliptigo, it takes the pressure off the joints. Because again, it's you're asking a lot as you're going through there.
Okay, one more question that I think everyone can take something away from. How can you prepare yourself for the quote unquote wall, mentally and physically? And what should we expect on that day?
I think training with your nutrition throughout your training is going to be really helpful. That's going to help prevent hitting that wall. That's why we take it. So not thinking, I'm not going to train with gels, I'm not going to train with this, and then on race day, I'm going to take it. That's not going to help. You need to practice with it. That's going to help prevent you hitting that wall. Also, this one, we've spoken about this before. Don't go out too fast. You're going to be pumped, you're excited, but really dialing the effort back. Coach Steve mentioned it. Your biggest hill of the day is the first incline. You literally start on your biggest incline. So take it out a little bit more conservative. Stick on top of your nutrition and your hydration throughout your training and throughout the marathon. And that's really going to help you stay away from that wall. If you find it, you can get away from it, but we don't want to find it. We want to avoid the wall.
That is a great question to close off with this evening. As we all know, running is not just a physical activity, it's mental as well. So thank you, coaches, for sharing your expertise with us tonight.
We'll quickly round of applause for Christina, who this is her first time ever moderating a TCS New York City Marathon panel, and she did an amazing job.
Thank you. Still behind the scenes for holding it down for this live session and recording. And thanks to all of you for joining us this evening and being a part of it by sharing your questions. Good luck the next few training weeks. We're just under 16 weeks to the big race day. We hope to see you again at our next detailed training tips panel back here on August 14th. Thanks, everyone, and have a great evening.